Racial bias in the classroom is something a lot of people are aware of, but it appears to be starting at a surprisingly young age. A new study at Yale University finds that teachers and staff actually show signs of racial bias when disciplining students starting in preschool. And this is happening whether they realize it or not. Travis is here with a special guest with more on this. Travis?
Yeah, good morning. The research actually indicating that children, specifically black children and black boys, are significantly more likely to face discipline than children of other backgrounds. We talked about this research last week. I have a lot of questions about it. That's why I wanted to have you, Dr. Jantz, here.
Good to be with you.
Talk about this. I mean, so this research indicating that preschool teachers might be unconsciously bias against certain students?
So there can be an expectation bias. Let me just say, first of all, I love teachers, and I have a lot of opportunity to work with teachers. And sometimes there's an expectation bias, so we treat a person a certain way. It's like the kid that smiles in the class will get more attention and may be favored differently than the kid that may be not smiling most of the time.
And it's also something we were talking in the break about, that it may be something about parents and how you feel about a parent and how you treat the kids.
So if you have parents who come in and the teacher knows the parents, it's a positive affinity with the parents, that child could be treated or perceived differently. If we have a perception that the child is coming from, quote, a troubled home, we may then have a different expectation of that child. So really, our expectations may dictate how we treat a person. And it can start so young.
That's the part that just is crazy to me, the idea of implicit bias. I certainly can believe that happening in junior high, high school. We see it happening in later life. But preschool, were you surprised when you read that there's evidence to say this is happening that young?
It is somewhat surprising, yes. And it's also sad because I think for most, this is probably a blind spot. I don't think it happens a lot intentionally. I think there's these blind spots and how we've been conditioned to believe in a certain way. So the solution is we've got to change our thinking, but we've got to become aware of it.
As a parent who has a preschooler or as parents who have school-age kids, is this a conversation that we should have with our teachers, with our school, with our kids? I mean, if you see a teacher treating a classmate differently, I mean, that's a conversation I would have to have with my daughter, for example.
Well, and we also need to understand preschool is going to have a limited understanding, if any understanding at all. Remember, they're just going to school. This is where they learn social cues. This is where they're learning how to get along with others. And so they're really not going to have an awareness or be able to put it into words. It can be quite interesting to go and observe a classroom for a day. And that's something that I've done before. And just to watch. You know, that'll tell you something.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes when we know we're being watched, we may behave differently too. So, yes, but it's something for us to be aware of. Learn what you can about your teacher. Do all you can to support your teacher, but we don't want to in any way accuse or judge, because some of this is just, again, I think blind, and we need to create an awareness.
I think, I mean, preschool teachers they grew up out of this social justice movement. That's kind of where preschools came from. And I know this research was presented to a lot of preschool teachers and administrators last week. I'm wondering, do you think just being aware of it could help teachers and all of us be more aware?
Oh, yes. So you see a video of this, you're a teacher, and go, my goodness. You know, and it causes you to kind of look at, well, how am I? And the real question is, because most teachers go, I really want to improve. I want to do a great job. Teachers want their kids to be successful. So if things can be pointed out or I can become aware of some things, most teachers go, man, I want to change that. Because I really do want every kid to succeed.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think most teachers absolutely have students' best interests at heart and knowing what may be influencing them, even if not thinking about it and wanting to change it.
Absolutely.
I'm curious about what you think, if now that we sort of know this may be happening as young as preschool, how that influences what happens in later life.
Well, if a kid feels harshly judged early on or the expectation is low, we know that that's going to create an issue for them potentially about just how they're going to perform. If I get attention when I'm in trouble, I probably will continue that, right? And if I was the kid in preschool that was always in trouble, that's how I learned to get attention. And attention meant love in an odd way. So I need to be aware that, yes, I can set up a whole trajectory where a kid could be behaving a certain way because they learned it early on.
Dr. Jantz, I love talking to you. I always understand things so much more when you're here. Thank you for being with us this morning. Really, really appreciate it. Bill, back to you.